pertains to these things, really establishing I and I within creation as a nation, I and I need to look into these things much more deeper. Rastafari. So now one of these major elements that I go and reason on specifically as it pertains to I and I people within the same fullness of nation building is the area, for lack of a better word, I would call it demon possession and spirit possession. For lack of a better term. You got different type of terms that basically mean similar things. You see? Aye? One reason on spirit possession or demon possession. Take your choice. So now, when we look into this thing, we find out, for example, we are in this place, but this is not our nation. Every other nation is making money or makes money off of our people. Rastafari. And even our people who proclaim and say that they don't have any jobs and can't find no jobs, at the end of the day, you still are creating jobs for other people. Yeah, you're creating jobs for other people. You can't create no job for yourself, which is the heights within the same reasoning of nation building. These guys don't have to have no job for you. You keep on talking about you're going to get a job. There's nothing to say that they got jobs for you. But when you're talking about building up your own job, creating your own work, you see, these things now pertain more in the fullness of establishment and building up of a nation. Like I say, everybody come here and make money off of you. Your condition creates employment for other people. But you can't find a job. But you create jobs for other people. You see? For example, you go buy your things or whatever from them. You see, you live over here and it's controlled by them. Everything you do is controlled or established by other peoples. And you may say, or even challenge that. You see? But like I said, the topic is demon possession and spirit possession. Our people predominantly are possessed by a demonic spirit. A demonic spirit, because that's what it really boils down to. A demonic spirit. And they are possessed by it. And this demonic spirit dictates how you think, how you live, everything. Now this demonic spirit, for example, if you don't even accept the whole thing of spirits and demons and these type of things, just look at it. Just look at yourself. Look in the mirror. What do you see when you look in the mirror? What you say, Trini? Power? All right. Give thanks. You say you see power. Give thanks, Brian. You see it? But let us say, for example, you look in the mirror. What are you seeing? All right. Let's take it to the root. Let's take it to the root. We're going to make no long story. For example, your name. What do you call yourself? The name that you respond to. You see? The sound. That's the name that you got from them. You see? Because when you was living in Africa, I'm sure your name wasn't Brian. You see, the word Brian is not really an African word. Now, if you say your name was Mulabutu Olodingiwa, I could probably say, well, that's an African name. You know what I mean? But the name where you call yourself, the name that you respond to, the name that you move toward, you see, is somebody else's name. Also, the language that you speak. Remember, we're talking about demon possession and spirit possession. Because a lot of our brothers and sisters feel like this is 2008 and that they have survived slavery and that they have gotten past slavery, or that slavery is dead, or slavery was back then. You see? That's the whole fullness where we're elaborating on these points. Because remember, the theme is all relating around nation building. You can't build a nation if your name is not your own name. You can't build a nation if your language that you speak in is not your own language. Because the language that you speak is a language that you was learned to speak and was beaten into you when you came here. You see? And every time you talk that language that we talking in, you even held more further deeper into the bondage and the spiritual imprisonment that relates to the whole vibratory rate and the whole vibration of the word sound. You see? Every time you use their word sound, you reinforce them. Every time you call upon that name, you reinforce in them. The clothes that we wear. When we was in Africa, we wasn't wearing these clothes, even though Africans, yes, did give the world the concept of clothes. You see? But the clothes that we wear, they are not African clothes. The language that we speak is not an African tongue. The names that we identify and call ourselves with are not African names and African identity. So hence, the spell or the possession of the demon starts to come into play. Because who gave you that name? A demon gave you that name. The same one who brought you here and enslaved you. That's why I say he's a demon. Because a righteous wouldn't do that. A man of God wouldn't do that. A man who's dealing with equality and justice wouldn't look at you as a beast and try to slave you and rob you for all of your riches and wealth. You see? The language that you speak was given to you by a devil or a demon. The clothes that you wear were given to you by that said demon or that same so-called slave master. You see? And all of these things help to reinforce their secret weapon to keep you in place. And that secret weapon is called self-hatred. My brothers and sisters, it's called self-hatred. Because the things that are truly and uniquely our own, we are taught to scorn it. Yes? We're taught to scorn these things. So now we find ourselves in a state of mental illness with varying personalities, and various personalities and would have various names. You see? So now, as it relates to nation building, you can't build no nation because your frame of mind, as hard as you may try to accept it or disbelieve it, is the same frame of mind, the same consciousness as the slaves or your foreparents